Today I'm going to show you a really easy way to propagate the jade plant from cuttings. First we want to locate a suitable place where we can take a cutting, and you want a cutting that's kind of a couple of inches long at least, so that you have enough stem to put into the soil. And all you do is gently snip it off. That's our first cutting. Let's find another one here. That's my second cutting. Okay, so I'm going to take another one from here. Okay, you can see here we have our cuttings, and what I'm going to do is remove some of the lower leaves, so you can usually just twist those off pretty easily. And the reason I've done that is because you see the areas where the leaves were growing from that I've snapped off. These are the nodes that we want to have in contact with the soil. So I've got two nodes there, and those are two places where roots can grow from. So you want to make sure that you have at least one node, but I like to get two if possible, if your cutting is big enough. And then I'm just going to repeat with my other cuttings. Take off a couple of those lower leaves. So there we have our 4 cuttings, and you can see where I pointed out before, where I pulled the leaves off, there's a sort of a seam that goes around the stem, and that's the node. So the node is the bit that you want to put below the soil when planting. So we're now just going to leave these to dry out for a few days, let the ends callus over. And this is just to prevent any bacteria or rotting. And by the magic of television, these cuttings are now ready to be planted. They've been drying out for several days. So I've got here some small pots, and you can use any cactus and succulent soil. I mix my own. I just make sure to put extra perlite in there. Just make sure it's really well draining. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stick. You can use a pencil or any other narrow implement just to make a hole there. And then I'm just going to place my cutting in the soil there and just pat it in a bit with my stick. And then just repeat for the other cuttings. Just make sure you have those nodes beneath the soil. And they will be a little bit loose to start with until they grow roots, but a good way of knowing if your cutting has started to grow roots is to just sort of do the tug test, and if you feel some resistance, you will know that it has started forming roots. The other way you can know is if you see new growth at the top here. That's a surefire way to know that your cutting is rooted. I'm just going to pat these in. Okay, so what I like to do is to just spray a little water on the top here, just on the soil. Not too much, just a little bit so that it's moist. You don't want it to be sopping wet. And then I just respray when the soil becomes dry. And you shouldn't really have to do this an awful lot to start with. Be aware that the roots will probably start forming probably in around 4 to 6 weeks. It does vary though, depending on your climate, what time of year it is, that kind of thing. But this is always what I do, and I always get success this way. And then when they do grow roots, you can start to just water them like normal succulents. And I normally water my succulents when they are completely dry. But whilst they're still forming roots, just keep that soil lightly moist. And that's it. Your new plants are now ready to go. And the final thing I'm going to do is just put these guys in nice little pots so they look cute on display. And then just place these in bright indirect light. You will want to make sure that they get plenty of light, but not direct sunlight. And there we have it guys, your guide on how to propagate the jade plant, and you'll find that this is one of the easiest plants to propagate. These guys root really easily. I really hope you found that guide useful. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.